Despite developing the brain being the main focus, the main purpose of education, many of us working in schools know surprisingly little about how it functions. Professor Hugh Coakham worked for many years at Frenchay Hospital's Department of Neurosurgery in Bristol and has an in-depth and generally hands-on knowledge of how our brain operates.
The two hemispheres of the brain have different functions. The left hemisphere of the brain has the functions of speech and numerical calculation, whereas the right-hand side of the brain, that has spatial awareness and pattern recognition. The frontal lobe is really the part of the brain that makes us human beings, because it carries the areas of the brain which determine human behavior, consideration of other people, drive, motivation, and that sort of thing. Just behind is the motor association cortex, and that is the part which formulates the sort of movements you want your body to make. Behind the association motor cortex is the motor cortex itself, and this is the part of the computer which actually causes the body to move and drives the muscles. The sensory cortex is the area of the brain where you understand and perceive all the sensations that are coming into your body, such as light touch, tickle, the wind on your face, and even pain. Just behind the sensory cortex is the sensory association area, where your brain analyzes the sort of sensations that your body is experiencing. Temporal lobes are, to a great extent, involved in memory, but there are small parts of the temporal lobe which are also involved in the perception of sound and understanding hearing. And right at the back of the brain is the fascinating area, the visual area and the visual association area. And scientists have now discovered that this is like a big plasma TV screen which basically sees the world as a screen does, and various parts of it will understand the signals that are coming in. In the left hemisphere of the brain, there is the important motor speech area called the Broca's area. And this is what actually makes you deliver the words and produces the words. Behind that is the sensory speech area called Wernicke's, and in that area you understand the words.
So we know that different areas of the brain have different functions, but does this mean that they work independently or together?
The whole of the brain is necessary for almost every task, and the whole brain is of course living and metabolizing all the time. It's quite interesting that modern research tells us that if you do special brain scans showing the function of the brain, that when patients are doing certain tasks, the scans light up and show us hotspots of the brain at work. And these hotspots are sometimes in the places where we would expect them to be, but sometimes they're scattered all over the place. It looks a little bit like the sky at night, indicating that different parts of the brain are all working together. Some of them are very distant though. A good example of how we use different brain areas would be guitar playing, where of course we need motor for holding the guitar and strumming it and fingering the guitar. We need sensation to appreciate where our fingers are on the frets. We need auditory, of course, to listen to the music, and visual if we're reading the music.